Hello everybody, are you having trouble getting to sleep? All of us do sometimes, and there are loads of techniques that we're told about to help us sleep, and I've talked about through them before, things like meditation, don't look at your phone screen before going to bed, do lots of exercise and so on, and yet there's still a huge sleeping problem. People use all these tips and they still can't sleep. Why is that? Well, actually, the truth is a lot of us are using these tips wrong, and in this video we're going to put that right. I talk about the fundamental reason why you can't get to sleep and how to solve it. And what is that fundamental reason? Well, the fundamental reason is that sleep is like breathing or digestion. You don't control it. It's not an activity where the more you try, the easier it gets. It's actually an activity where the more you try, the harder it is to get to sleep. So the more stuff you do to help you get to sleep, the harder it's going to be to get to sleep, which is counterintuitive. Let me give you a very simple example. Lots of people have told me they do meditation or breathing exercises just before bed to try and get to sleep. But for many people, this doesn't work because all it does is increase the anxiety. It's like putting pressure on the moment. It's like saying, I have to get to sleep now. I have to do my breathing exercises. I have to breathe properly. And then actually what's happening is you're getting more stressed. The unfortunate thing about sleep is that the less you want it, the more likely you are to have it, as anybody knows who's fallen asleep during their boss's meeting. So in this context, this framework, what are some very common mistakes that people are using? They're taking good advice, but actually turning it into harmful advice. Let me give you number one. The wind down routine. Lots of people have this big wind down routine before they get to bed, meditation, bit of exercise, have a bath, put away my phone. But if this stuff makes you miserable, you're not going to get to sleep. So here's the advice. If you genuinely like watching TV before you go to sleep, if you want to flick through your social media messages and that calms you down, then do it. Don't do stuff you hate to get you to go to sleep because it's not going to work. It just makes you more anxious. The second big tip is this. Lots of people like to do the breathing exercises because they think it will calm them down. But as I said, it doesn't calm you down if you put pressure on it. If you want to do breathing exercises, it's a very good idea, but do them during the day. 10 minutes of breathing exercises during the day, that's slowing your breathing down maybe to 5 or 6 breaths a minute rather than the customary 12 to 20, will actually help send your body a message to calm down well in advance of your sleep. If you do it before bedtime, you're probably just going to stress yourself out. The next thing, and the fundamental driver that's stopping you get to sleep is actually, unfortunately, the fear of being awake. So you have to face that fear head on. If you can't get to sleep, you've got to say, screw it. I'm going to go do something I enjoy then. Go watch a comedy, go read a book, listen to an audiobook, even exercise. For as long as you're afraid of being awake, you're not going to get to sleep. So if you can't get to sleep, just try and keep awake. Do the opposite of what you're trying to do. And ironically, sleep will come to you. Next, try smiling. You know what? Smiling is very good because it calms your body down. And actually, you may not feel like it. You may not feel like smiling. It can be a fake smile, but actually, it still releases the relevant hormones into your bloodstream. So try smiling. Next, lots of people, when they have a bad night's sleep, they have an early night the next day, or they sleep in late during the morning. This is a terrible idea. You need to be awake 16 hours to go to sleep. That's what gives you your sleep drive. So if you have a really bad night's sleep, then you sleep until 10 a.m., then you try and go to bed at 10 p.m., you're not going to be tired enough. And that's going to create this problem of you thinking, I can't get to sleep at night. You have to have 16 waking hours to 8 hours of sleep. Otherwise, you won't be able to get to sleep. And here's the final ironic concluding remark is this. Stop reading articles about sleep and watching videos like this on sleep, because all you're doing is making it a bigger moment than it needs to be. The actual thing about sleep is like breathing and digesting. The less you think about it, the more likely you are to be able to do it.